Hello, listeners, and welcome to our podcast, Atlanta 1996 Olympic Triumph or Tradeoff. My name is Amari Owens, and I am your host for this episode. In the previous episode, we talked about how the dream of bringing the Olympics came to vision in Atlanta. You see, the Olympic selection process is a very tedious process, where large cities with many attractions compete to gain the attention of the Olympic Committee. According to accredited author and associate professor at Georgia State University, Maurice J. Hobson, Atlanta had to compete with popular cities like Athens, Greece, Manchester, England, Melbourne, Australia, and many others. To make Atlanta a more attractive candidate, it needed to address its many issues with the city. In this episode, I am going to talk about just some of the many changes Atlanta made to host the Olympics. One of those main changes Hobson presented was in surface transportation. One of the biggest improvements in the transportation situation was the continued expansion of MARTA, the Metro Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority, which at the time was the most common form of public transportation in Atlanta. With its further development, it had grown even more impressive and versatile for the citizens in Atlanta than it originally had been. With the modifications made, Atlanta could then transport a bigger population of the city. In addition to that, it also began to slowly decrease the traffic, slowly decrease the amount of air pollution caused by car emissions, and slowly decrease the amount of asthma-induced respiratory attacks, according to the Epidemic Intelligence Service. Not to mention the construction of the One Atlantic Center in 1986, a building designed by the renowned architects Philip Johnson and John Burgee. This 3 million square foot premier office space made an impact on Midtown's landscape that not only got the attention from the Olympic Committee, but it also brought the attention from Fortune 500 companies, which brought even more business and growth to Atlanta. Not to mention the construction for the Olympic Stadium and the Olympic Centennial Park. In the year 1993, under the authority of Maynard Jackson, the construction started for the Olympic Stadium and the planning for the Olympic Centennial Park. While the Olympic Stadium was still a major task to complete and not as noteworthy as the Olympic Centennial Park, it would later spell success for years and years of Atlanta sports events and Atlanta sports teams. But the completion of the Olympic Centennial Park is a project that still speaks volumes into the citizens of Atlanta and still continues to have an impact to this day. The Olympic Centennial Park is 21 acres of greenery space with beautiful scenery. Magazine reports added that with its construction of the park, it opened up many new opportunities that were previously not available. It provided a spot for tourism and allowed the citizens of Atlanta to congregate and get together for special events. The addition of Olympic housing also helped make the city more hospitable for tourism and for other colleges like Georgia State University, Georgia Institute of Technology, and many others. Now, while all this progress for Atlanta was really developing the city into a better place for the people, we sometimes overlook the cost to produce all that nice infrastructure. This cost goes much deeper than the money. You see, Atlanta was just not a place made up of vacant lots. It had people, tons of people who were either homeless or lived in public housing. They did not have much when it came to things, but they usually had their own place to stay. However, that all went away after the demolition of several housing locations that were replaced by the Centennial Park space. And while I will admit that the Centennial Olympic Park space is a beautiful place to visit, those areas that were demolished still provided a place for solace for the low-income citizens of Atlanta. The worst part is it does not stop there. The major officials of Atlanta continued with the displacement of the low-income class through unorthodox methods like kicking them out of town or simply holding them in jail for as long as they could. I cannot emphasize enough how unjust this was for the citizens of Atlanta. And so, while the Olympics preparation accomplished much for the city and much progress, we still have to consider what the preparation of the Olympics did to the citizens and whether or not it helped them or hurt them. We'll find out more on the next episode of Atlanta 1996 Triumph or Tradeoff. This is Amari Owens signing off.